there are a lot of female scholars that contributed to the field of tafsir. Inshallah, I'll start us off with the Dr. Aisha Abdul Rahman, who was called Bint al-Shati, daughter of the riverbanks. She was born in 1913. Her father was an Azhari sheikh. She was educated at that time in the same way that women are usually that were usually educated, which means that at home, whatever was available at home, they let them take part of. But going out and seeking knowledge out of the home was something in that area. We're talking about the 1913. It was not something that was encouraged. So she also learned at her local kutab. Her father being a sheikh, he was involved in something called kutab, which is a Qur'an school. It's a school where children come and they with their little tablets. When I say tablet, it's usually a chalkboard at that time, right? And chalk, where they'd sit there and learn how to recite the Qur'an and memorize Qur'an. But that was really, she was constrained to that and was not allowed to pursue education until later on. When she grew up, she continued to pursue her education, at times behind her father's back. Really, Dr. Aisha Abdul Rahman's journey into knowledge was really bitter and difficult, because her father wasn't a proponent of a woman leaving the house for education, and there was a lot of times her mom would enroll her in things behind the father's back. And her maternal grandfather was actually one of the shuyukh of Al-Azhar, and he had a different outlook than her father. And he would kind of, I guess, act as a buffer between her and her father and encouraging her to pursue education. And she did so long distance. She would, enroll and then study the material and then go get examined. Dr. Aisha Abdul Rahman is not only an intellectual, she was also a thinker, a scholar, but she was also a model of a woman who was able to empower herself by the same means that people tried to use to suppress her with. So no one can say that she was, one of those radical modernists. No, she used our tradition to empower herself. Anytime somebody would say something stupid, say Dr. Aisha would have her answer ready from tradition itself. And she was a master also of the language, of the Arabic language and poetry. She was herself a poet. She left scholars in awe. They'd ask her to recite poetry from a certain, and she'd ask them from what era. They'd tell her, recite poetry. This was in her examination in her teacher's certification. She asked the scholars, from what era? And they said from Jahili, right? And then even in Jahili, she would ask them, okay, you want Jahili poetry? Should it be from my own collection or from one of the other poets? Like she always left scholars in awe, and she had such a presence, such this beautiful, calm, very confident presence. And as I said, she was really somebody who, you would think like these men of letters in the Renaissance who knew all the sciences of geology, geography. This is how she was, Dr. Aisha, to the extent that in a lot of debates that would happen in the religious circles and in the intellectual circles, people would ask if she's taking part in the debate, they would back out. So this is somebody who was an example of using, her intellect and the available knowledge in really empowering herself.